Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Oregon football.
Our connection, our toughness, our growing through moments, our DNA traits showed up at the end.
10, 5, bonus. Give me 6. Pressure. Boom. Dorless got to him again.
I just know how hard our guys work, and you love when they work hard, they get rewarded.
To the 10, 5, 6. Bucky Irving. Can he get free on his feet? He does. Franklin scores. Ferguson turns and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. Touchdown, Ducks.
It was exciting for me to see our guys go out there and execute. I'm proud of them. I love them. So really grateful for that moment.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Country Financial Insurance, Protect What Matters, and by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Now let's go to the Country Financial Studios and talk Oregon Duck football.
Welcome into our Country Financial Studios. I'm Jerry Allen, Joey Mack. Jorgemeister is gone.
Advanced team.
Yeah.
He's
scouting out Tempe and restaurants and fine wine. So we'll join him down there in the studio with us, head coach Dan Lanning, for our Wednesday night Toyota Coaches Show. Coach, thanks for being in here. You probably could have gone with Jorgie down to Tempe in the advanced team.
I'm not quite ready to be down there yet.
The hay is not in the barn, right?
The hay is not.
I know what that's like. Our coach's interview brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. Nice win on Saturday against a really better football team that I think a lot of people give them credit for.
Well, yeah, certainly, tons of talent on that team and very capable team. But, yeah, it was fun to see our guys go out there and compete.
What were your takeaways?
Yeah, I thought we did some things really, did well. We started off fast, to be able to score in 2 plays. I think really set a standard and a tone for us. Got some big stops on a really good player and, held on in some other moments that we can certainly improve from. But some big special teams play, eliminated a great returner, and, really happy with the result.
You touched on the quick start. That was on my list for you. I mean, when you have a quarterback rating of over 1,000, you don't see that very often through 2 plays. How big of a deal was that to have a fast start? What can that do for your team?
Yeah, I think it takes the wind out of their sails a little bit. And for us, just reassured all the work that you put in, you were onto something.
I know you talk about going to the doctor on Monday to fix things that you see in the video in the game. Can you delve into some of those things in general a little bit? What types of things do you work on fixing?
I mean, all of it, right? You don't just pick one thing, but ultimately penalties is one thing that hurt us in this last game. It's hurt us a couple times this season, and I think that's one thing we're battling to figure out. Okay, how can we eliminate this? Because it's limiting what we can be and what we want to be.
On that point, a fan actually asked me this week about penalties and what do you do in practice? I mean, you got officials at practice, so I don't know. Is it as simple as, well, that's a penalty, don't do that in the game?
I think you got to teach your players. You got to coach it, teach your players. We do some extracurricular whenever those things happen in practice. We do some stuff after practice when we have penalties in games. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. We certainly work to address it and have to work to do a better job.
I mean, there's the whole mindset in a game, certainly, but in practice is to go fast, go quick, be there first, make the stop, make the play, but at the same time, don't cross that line. And that's something that it's hard for young people to learn.
Well, it's the job, right? It's what you need to do, and discipline isn't a sometimes thing; it's an all the time thing. So we have to get it right.
You're right. I'm right.
I was just thinking about the discipline being a constant. So like you actually got me going in through that mindset a little bit. Like I know you talk a lot about being a teacher. Discipline is a big part of your program. How do you instill that? How do you get that going culturally?
Well, I think that's something our players want. I always say that I want to coach our players no different than I coach my sons. And guess what? There's discipline in our house, right? That's
Sure.
required. And Sophia always gets frustrated because I walk in and I tell the boys to do something. They do exactly what I tell them to do. I said, babe, that's discipline. And I like to think it's the same way in our program. But our players respect that and want that too because they know that when you're a disciplined team, you're going to operate the best.
Yeah.
Going back to that game on Saturday, your defense was very disciplined. They did not let Caleb Williams run too wild. He never really got to the edge, got away, and you pressured him a lot. Talk about your defense a little bit and how well they did play in that game.
Yeah, I thought our defensive staff had a great plan, going in and attacking a really good player. And, he still broke free and had some moments within that game that were really special for him. But overall, our guys embraced the plan and executed at a high level.
Sometimes as a coach, you do have to tip your cap, right? Like when somebody does something both for you and against you, I guess.
Yeah, no, that team, like I said, has a ton of talent, and I think that's the second lowest score total he's had this season.
That's right.
And it could have been even tighter if we get a couple fourth down stops in that last drive. So pleased with some things that happened, but certainly ready to go out there and get better.
Talking about pressure on the quarterback too, I know that was a big focus for this game plan. And with that in mind, I felt like the cumulative pressure throughout a game. I mean, what can that do to an opposing quarterback when you have that relentless pressure throughout a game?
Well, this past week we're playing a guy that, his internal timer as far as throwing the ball, he holds the ball longer than any team, in the nation. So for us, it was important to speed that up because that's where a lot of his explosive plays came when he's able to hold the ball for a long time. So the pressure helps there.
Talked to some folks across the country this week. Excuse me, two different groups. Both of them mentioned Oregon's ability to get hats on the ball. Not just one or two guys, but they really noticed what kind of a gang tackling team this is. And they also commented on number 33, Mr. Williams. Is he kind of a key rally to the ball guy on that defense?
Yeah, he's certainly been a big piece of it, and he'd be the first one to tell you that the teammates around him makes him special. But Evan's been a phenomenal addition to our program. He comes out and he works every single day extremely hard. He practices really hard, and it never surprises me the result on the field because of that.
In general, I remember going into the season, we had a lot of conversations with you about tackling and how important that is. Now, toward this point in the season, where are you in your evaluation of tackling overall for your defense? I mean, it's top 10, 15, 20 scoring defense, and in pretty much every category, top 20 right now. Tackling's got to be a big part of that.
Yeah, tackling in defense is probably the most important trait, and we're certainly tackling well, but always looking for opportunities to tackle better is something you have to consistently do.
How much has, at this point of the season, this far in, how much is the depth that you've been able to develop on the defensive side helped your defense be as good as they are?
Well, it certainly matters. In this last game, we had to hop into the depth at some positions. And when you get some experience and guys that work really hard in practice, I think it shows up and they can execute on game day.
I feel like you get asked often about red shirts and strategy, and you've made it very clear that if you're good enough, you're young enough, and you're going to play. A game like that, I felt like it was even another example of like, hey, you got to always be ready in case something comes up because you never know when that's going to be needed for a team. Right?
Absolutely. And we've got a bunch of selfless players that want to go out there and compete for their team and put their best foot forward, so that always pays off.
Is there a point in a ball game as a coaching staff, even as players, when you get a sense or a feeling for we're in better shape, we're in better condition than they are, we've got them now, let's push harder?
I don't know that we ever say, hey, let's push harder, because I'm hoping we're pushing our hardest throughout the game. But, yeah, I think there's moments where you can feel the fans in our stadium. They're so amazing. You can feel, the difference in the sidelines, and that's definitely momentum that you want to take advantage of.
Cool stuff.
We talk a lot about your quarterback for good reason. He's up for pretty much every national award, at least a semifinalist right now. This is just another reminder of just how good of a performance that he had for you. And I don't know, what were some of your takeaways from the quarterback position?
Yeah, he was elite. He did a great job, does his job at a high level all the time. And I think it's shown up in every game this season.
You got a lot of guys that are on a lot of awards lists. JPJ, again, mentioned as a finalist. And it all starts up front. That offensive line, and I come back to this, I think, every week, still surprising me and a lot of people that they are as good as they are when to start the season they were relatively all new together.
Yeah, it shows that people really don't know what they're talking about, I guess. I mean, we've got a group that works really hard, and when you have a team that's having team success, some of those individual goals start to be achieved as well. And I think any of these guys that are up for awards right now, they tell you that's credit to their teammates and the way they work.
When you look at those guys and the award list that some of them are on, in terms of recruiting and attracting young men, players you want to come here, how big is that for you to be able to say, look at the attention these guys are drawing? That would be you.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, proof's in the pudding. And I always say the best indicator of the future is the past. And what we're doing with our players right now, I think, is a great indication of what will happen with players for us in the future.
I will say my favorite award to look at is one of the few that takes into account an entire unit, and that's the Joe Moore Award back to the offensive line. I personally love that there's a unit award for that. So operating as a unit, what's been your assessment of them this year?
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job. And they work, like I said, work really hard. They're a very connected group. Not a lot of people grow up and say, I want to play O-line, right? A lot of people grow up and want to be running backs or quarterbacks, but not a lot of people grow up and say, I want to be an O-lineman. And the way they embrace the work that's required for them to be successful and how important that is for our team's success is huge.
All right, we're going to talk a lot more football, but we're going to get into some other things tonight with you, too. Maybe – I don't know, some movies, some
I've got
food.
a list.
Yeah, we got some things.
Okay.
Fun stuff coming up. It's our Pepsi Coaches interview on our Toyota Coaches Show. I'm Jerry Allen with Jorgie again, fronting us, getting ready for us to join him down at Arizona State for the game on Saturday. We'll come back with more with our coach on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Go Ducks!
It's made, turn, don't deny me the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studio, our Toyota Coaches Show. I'm Jerry Allen with Jorgie.
I'll take
I did that again. I did
Joey.
Joey.
This is great.
Joey and Jorgie combined.
Wait, I just want to say I've officially made it to Jorgie almost level.
Jogie.
This is great.
I can call you that on the game.
Retire at 30.
We're going to do that on the game Saturday.
Jogie.
I
can retire at 30.
called you
this
something
great.
worse. I have called you something worse. No, okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk. You want to do movies or food first?
Well, I think you should go food first because we're not doing a coach's show next week because it's the shortened week. So that means this is the Thanksgiving special, right?
Thanksgiving special to some degree. Now, next week, you probably won't do much Thanksgiving because you got a short week. You got a game to play. So I'm guessing like we used to do, or I do, when I was gone or working on Thanksgiving, we do Thanksgiving the next week with the family. Do you guys do that?
I haven't even thought about it yet. I mean, I've thought about what our football schedule looks like, but I don't know. At some point next week, I'll eat some turkey.
You'll eat some turkey.
So turkey's that's the move.
Turkey or ham?
I like both. Yeah, dark meat.
Yeah. Okay.
Turkey would be
that's the
the go-to for me.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the best turkey is like a couple days later, throw it on some white bread with some salt. That's
mayonnaise.
Yeah, there you go.
Cranberry.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
So what's your Thanksgiving table? Are you potatoes, turkeys, thinking cornbread, mashed potatoes, gravy, all that?
That all sounds great. I don't make all
potato.
that.
No, you don't.
So we'll see.
That was one of my next questions was, have you ever fixed a Thanksgiving dinner?
I've contributed. Contributed would be like
put marshmallows on the sweet potatoes.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I've contributed. I'm not in charge of that.
I feel like football coaches are always at it's a tough time of year for you to be doing a full feast, right? I mean, in your profession, I can't imagine there's a lot of people that have a traditional Thanksgiving.
No, I don't think that's very common.
Yeah.
So cold turkey.
Whatever exists, I'm eating it. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm with you.
I'm gonna guess they probably got some turkey over in the HDC. That
They'll have something for us, I'm sure.
All right.
So,
your turn.
all right. So I know that you and I'm going to give a shout out to Marshall as well. Enjoy a nice movie every now and then.
Yeah.
And I also know that movie clips are a common theme in your presentations to the teams. Where'd that come from? Have you always been like a movie guy? You like using scenes as motivators?
It doesn't always fit. Well, I don't always use scenes as motivators, but yeah, certainly when it fits the message, I think it's great to hear something else than me talking.
Right. Well, it did this past week. I know you showed some Top Gun clips. That was kind of the theme. If you didn't see the cinematic recap, just watch it. Do yourself a favor, Duck fans. But I was just kind of curious if you have had some over the years that you've used more than once. Like, do you try to use new ones? Do you have a list that you're like, man, this could come up this year? I don't know. I was just curious.
Yeah, no. I try not to use the same one multiple times.
What about like 5 years later, though?
I mean, I've only been here a year and a half, so maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Right.
But when it fits, when we come across something that fits, we'll certainly use it.
I didn't know if you did it as an assistant, though.
I mean, yeah, I've always used other ways, to share a message that I'm looking for. But I don't know if I've had a lot of repeats. You try to find fresh material
to motivate, to get them going.
That's right.
I would love to have a camera on the team when they see the cinematic recap for the first time. How do they respond, or do you put that up?
We don't play that for the team. We watch the opponent's film. So I guess they all have Twitter or X. So that's probably where they see it.
It's amazing all the visions and opinions that fans and we as broadcasters have of what's going on in a week during practice. We all think these things are going on, but it's all a focus on your next game, next practice day.
Yeah.
That
we're kind of worried about the next thing. Yeah. If you start concerning yourself about the past too much or the future too much, you're not really doing a good job of where you're at. So that's our focus.
Interesting.
I know you talk a lot with the team, and we've heard you say this publicly about how there's so much outside noise, and you talk about that. You embrace that around the program. How do you go about building the blinders? Do you have a strategy for a young person when they first come here?
I think just more than anything, identifying it and be open and honest about it, right? That there's a lot of distractions in the world of a college football player right now. And people that can avoid distractions have an opportunity to be really successful.
Yeah, like the broadcast crew.
No. It's the point of the season when the mental and the physical begins to wear on bodies and minds. This is that point of the season when a lot of guys are dealing with that. Coaches even, I would imagine, dealing with the mental aspect of being on edge and being sharp all the time. As you approach this part of the season, how aware are you of that, and how do you handle that with your team to help them get through that?
Yeah, very aware. But I think we're all very honest, too, about the reality of college football. And we adjust the schedule throughout the season. This part of the season we're probably doing a little bit less from a practice standpoint than what we'd be doing earlier in the season. But we're also trying to challenge ourselves mentally. It's about managing your time, making sure you do a great job of taking care of your body. It probably matters more now. We call it prehab, right? A lot of people get hurt and they go do rehab, right? We want to do rehab before we get hurt, right? We want to stretch properly. We want to use yoga, use rest and recovery to the best of our ability before we get to moments where we need it.
Entering this season, I would imagine that Coach Love and his staff instrumental in having your team prepared for the later part of the season. In other words, going into the season really in shape mentally and physically. How important is that summer program, that off-season programming?
Yeah, it's huge, and I don't know if people realize that you're still going to lift weights during the season, and it's not necessarily but to get huge incremental gains, but it's just about maintaining, staying healthy, and our guys do a great job of that. Coach Love and his staff do a great job of that.
This is a bigger than football thing that I'm about to ask you about. Jamal Hill has done this, and I think it's so cool. He's doing a turkey giveaway again this year, fans. If you haven't followed along on his social media, he's doing an Oregon football turkey giveaway Sunday, November 19th at the Michovsky Center. The purpose of a lot of this is to pass it along to families that need it. First come, first serve, 1 turkey per family. Coach, I just wanted to say, I think that's so awesome that Jamal Hill and the rest of the team, heroes around Oregon athletics. That's a cool thing. It's bigger than football.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
How awesome is that? That's really, really cool. A guy taking his platform and some initiative to create really great opportunities for a lot of people.
And not just that, but how many things you have done throughout the year and will continue to do when the guys grow up and become important parts of their community and their future lives with wife and children based on what they're learning right now. And you take that responsibly.
Yeah, giving's important, right? And with a group of guys that have been blessed so much, I think we all feel like we have something to give back.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about your opponent coming up, so we'll take a quick break here and come back and do that. Oregon, Arizona State coming up this Saturday. It's a day game. I'm looking forward to that. We'll get back at a decent hour. That'll be fun to look forward to. We're back with more inside our studio after this in the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks! Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FuboTV.com.
More gridiron action in 1 minute.
Gonna throw. Oh, what a play for the middle. Touchdown, Oregon.
Coming your way on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studios. I'm Jerry Allen, along with Jogi. That's
the new
right. Name. We're calling you Jogi from now.
I'm in.
Whenever Jorgie's not here, it's
You're the one
Jogi.
that called me Joey Mack the first time.
That's true. You
yeah.
Get your name.
And then it stuck for 10 years. So now we'll see if this
Does
goes
Coach
for 10
even
years.
know what your real full last name is?
Probably not.
Joey Mack works for me.
Thank you.
There you go. I like that.
Thank you.
Let's continue on with our Pepsi coaches interview and get you ready for Arizona State. Coach Dillingham, you were at Arizona State. Was he a player when you were there as a
No,
GA?
he was a high school football coach when I was there. He used to come in and sit in the meetings in the back of the room there as a high school football coach.
Really?
Yeah.
So some history. Yeah. Before you worked here together, obviously last year, had you worked together before?
Yeah. So after ASU, we both kind of went different directions, but we worked together at Memphis. You know, he was there at Arizona State with Coach Norvell, and then when Coach Norvell came to Memphis, Kenny came to Memphis, and I met them there from Alabama, so was able to work together. And then after we moved on, from that moment, we stayed kind of in contact until we got here at Oregon together.
I know the coaching fraternity is small, but it's amazing to look at, and I feel like when you get to a game like this where there's so much crossover, like, I don't know, do you get a chance to think about that? Just like how many people you've worked with and crossed paths with over the years in your career so far?
Yes, a lot of staffs, a lot of people. tons. I mean, there's a big group, big network.
Yeah.
Good friend. I mean, you brought him here as your old coordinator last year. Now you're playing against him as a head coach. Is it a little bit like playing against your brother? I mean, there's a lot of respect and love between you two.
Yeah, I'd say that's a really fair comparison.
Okay. But you want to beat your brother.
I've never wanted to lose to my brother.
That's what I was going to say.
I always want to beat my brother.
Yeah, that might be the best example of how that continues. Him as a coach, we saw last year the offensive efficiency, creativity. What have they done this year? What can you break down?
They've certainly been creative. You know, they've done a good job of trying to use their personnel in a variety of ways. Been very aggressive, and it's kept them in a lot of ball games, and they've won some tight ones and been in some real battles.
I want to ask about this, deciphering your opponent's signals. I'm not talking about stealing signals. I'm talking about guys that know each other so well, players that know each other, Bo and Dilly. You know each other's signals. Do you have to change a lot, or do you anticipate what they might be doing based on what you guys have done in the past?
Yeah, I think that's the game within the game. Certainly there's some things that we've changed since Coach was here, and I'm sure he's adapted some of the things that he's doing down there. We both know each other, but neither one of us are going to be playing in the game. You know, I told the players earlier in the week, I wish Kenny was playing in this game. I think our guys match up well with him, but there's going to be some things that we changed, and there certainly will be some things that he changes. So that's the game.
You said like it's the game within the game. I feel like that question gets asked all the time when like it's a coordinator faces his former team or whatever. Like, is that kind of overblown by people like us that there is like all this intel that can impact a game? I don't know.
I mean, it kind of goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
So probably overblown.
Okay.
So how you prepare for Arizona State at quarterback when they got a guy who's a tight end who plays quarterback for them once in a while too, and they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, basically anybody on the roster, you got to be able to count on the fact that they might throw a pass. So I mean, running back last week had a 3rd and 10 that he's threw for a touchdown. So anybody that's there, I don't know if they play catch a lot of practice, but it seems like they got a lot of guys that can throw the ball.
We had a double swinging gate that was adopted from the Jim Fossil coaching. I mean, I guess you got to be ready for anything, right?
Got to be ready for it all.
Yeah.
Let your rules play out.
Defensively, what do they bring? What are they
They're a very pressure-oriented team. Coach Ward does a really good job. They are not going to sit back and wait, right? They're going to go get it. So a lot of unique pressures, a lot of different fronts, and guys that play really hard.
I feel like they're known offensively because of Coach Dillingham, but they've only allowed more than 30 points twice. I imagine the defense does stick out to you.
Yes, certainly one of the better defenses we've played this year. They've done a really good job.
All right, I'm ready to play. I know you've got a guy in here who's going to come up and talk with Jogi here in a few minutes. Cam Lewis, number 49. What can you talk about that guy? He's been here a while.
Well, how about the huge kick last week after kicking to one of the most dynamic returners in the game, and we're backed up because we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and he knocks it out the park. So really proud of this dude. He's done a lot of great things for the Ducks and going to continue to do a lot of great things for us.
Do not play golf against him. He's pretty good.
He's a good golfer.
Unless Bailey Jaramillo is out there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Coach, again, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Looking forward to jumping on the plane on Friday, heading down to Arizona in the desert, and getting back here and playing again after that.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Come back with more. Jogi has got Camden next on our Coaches Show, Toyota Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
There's more Duck football around the corner.
Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. And he's gone. 10-5. Touchdown, Oregon.
60 seconds away on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's the Toyota Coaches Show. Camden Lewis is joining us here tonight. Cam.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, dude? So you got the Ducks Take Flight 2023 quarter zip on? What is this?
I do, yeah. This is one of our little gifts from our donor golf tournaments we have. Got to be there, man.
Done. Look.
You got to go to them.
Look, I knew that when we said, hey, Camden, why don't you do the Coaches Show this week? I knew it was going to be great. But now I didn't know that I was going to get custom gear in the studio. Like, look at well done.
Yep.
See, this isn't your first rodeo. This is what we call a veteran.
Right. I've been doing this a while.
So you've been doing this a while, which means you probably know that the 2-minute life story is coming.
I have to do it again?
You have to do it again. Because here's the deal. You did it on Duck Insider. Okay.
Is that different?
Different program.
Okay, fair enough.
Duck Insider covers everything. The Toyota Coaches Show is just football specific.
Okay.
So you get a chance. Do you remember what you did last time?
No, but I think I was at like 146.
Yeah, you were pretty good. It was 146.
Is that what it was?
It was. I think you were at like 144.
Okay.
So since you were last in here, we actually have a whiteboard now that has the top times. And my goal for you is to beat the Bo Nix minute 53.
Okay.
Can you do it?
I mean, we're about to find out.
Yeah, we are about to find out. The 2-minute life story of Camden Lewis. Go.
Okay. My name's Camden Lewis. I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born in New Hampshire, actually. Moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was about 3 years old with my family. We thought it was a better place to grow up, and it was awesome. I had a great childhood. I have a great family, great parents, an older brother who's been a great role model for me. You know, my brother and I are actually very different. He's living in Charleston now. He actually runs sailboats, like little tours all around the harbor in Charleston, which I got to do this summer, which was really cool to see like a peek into his life. And I chose the most stressful job in the world. So you can see
really
where,
did.
yeah. But that's just kind of how I was growing up. You know, I was super motivated, super passionate about everything I did, whether it was building Lego sets or, you know, kicking footballs, whatever it might be. But, you know, worked really hard in high school. I wanted to be a soccer player. I loved soccer. It was definitely my first love and what drove me into football. But when I got to high school, I made the soccer team, the JV soccer team, and the JV football team didn't have a kicker, and my parents were close with the special teams coach. So they decided to force me to go try out for the kicker position, which I didn't want to do because soccer and football were the same season. But I did it. You know, ended up being decent at it and worked at it for a couple years, quit soccer, went through the whole recruiting journey, and ended up doing what I do now. And it's been an incredible experience here. I've made some incredible connections, met some really cool people. University of Oregon has been just a dream come true. So I'm grateful to be here, grateful to do what I do. It's tough at times, but I love it, and I wouldn't change any of my experiences for the world.
Minute 43.
Dang it.
No, that was consistent, though.
Yeah, you know, that's 1 second off last time.
Yeah, consistent.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the goal as a kicker.
That's great. So I was thinking, I was like jogging my memory about if you said anything else this time. And
it was different. I know it was different.
It was different. The addition of what your brother does, whole different world.
Well, I knew I had to add 16 seconds.
But
so
then
that was the 16
efficient.
seconds, and I must have left something out.
I think you just talked quicker.
Maybe I do that.
Yeah, I mean,
get going.
I think you were comfortable and you just rocked and rolled. I mean, Family growing up, though, sounds like a big part of
Absolutely.
who you are.
Yeah, they're actually in town for the whole month of November.
Nice. You didn't bring them to the studio?
No, well, my dad actually just got a new job, so he's flying to Charleston, South Carolina right now, and then flying back for the Arizona game.
Oh, wow.
So he's all over the place, but yeah, my family's in town for Thanksgiving, which is awesome. They got an Airbnb for the month. So that's pretty cool. My grandma will be here. It's senior night coming up, so it'll be great to have my family here.
Is it settling in? Senior day's coming.
It's hard to believe I only have one more game at Autzen. It's sad, but I mean, it's what it is, you know.
Do you let that hit you though, or are you trying to like wait for that to kind of emotionally sink in?
I don't think it'll emotionally sink in until I'm, done. Like it doesn't really even feel like, I'm like, I feel like I'm coming back for another year. It doesn't even feel like it's. I think that's the case with a lot of seniors.
You think so?
Yeah.
I always ask that question, and then some of them are like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna look around a little bit more this week."
Absolutely. No, and I've been doing that all season. When we do shout, when we do the coming home thing, I'm one of the people looking around like, man, like this is pretty cool. Like, I think I was, maybe too focused on like the whole football thing my first couple of years, and I wasn't really like soaking it all in. And it's you really like. Once you look around and take it all in and really realize where you are, it's pretty special.
Yeah. Beyond football, for just a second, and we've got a lot of football things to cover, but doing a master's program now.
I am,
too.
yeah. I started an MBA in sports business. They let me start early, actually, which is awesome because I wouldn't have been able to graduate because it's a 1.5-year program. But yeah, an MBA in sports business, which has been really cool. But it's a high workload for sure with football.
And you already got your degree though.
Yeah, I graduated in finance last March.
Yeah. So you're going to be doing my taxes soon.
That's why I'm doing sports business.
So that's okay. You can. So what do you want to do when you're all done with football? You're gonna kick professionally for 20 years and make a bunch of money that you smart financially know how to manage. But then what are you gonna do?
I've looked into a lot of things. One of my classes this term is a sports finance class, just like talking about the economic aspects of sports. Talking about agents and things like that. And there's a lot of different routes I'd love to go into, whether it's working for an NFL team, like in their finances, becoming an agent, something along those lines. I definitely want to try to get my foot in the door at an NFL team or even a college team and just, see what I like, try things out.
All right. So that's what's coming for Camden Lewis. So now back to football for just a moment. Cam is 5 points away from tying the program scoring record heading into this week. So I don't know if you're thinking about that, but I've at least been tracking it along with Nate Kruger and his staff. Like we've been kind of watching that's a big deal, Cam. Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. And I've had people ask me is that something you think about a lot? And it's not because you can't get it in one game. I can't get it all at once. It's something that
well, if you did,
happens.
It'd be history. I mean,
that would be a lot of points in one game.
Yeah, it's a lot of points from a kicker.
Yes. That'd be Yeah.
But
anyways, it's something I've had on my mind since I got here, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of really great teams who scored a lot of touchdowns and gave me the opportunity to kick a lot of PATs, led by guys like Justin Herbert and Bo Nix, guys who put points on the board, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So I'm grateful to have been in a position where the teams I was a part of were very successful, and I was just a part of that.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be 5 touchdowns this weekend. You tie that record, and then we get to talk about that. It's one of those things, though, as you can imagine, in selecting you to come on this week.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Can we knock on wood together right now on behalf of the record? The broadcast jinx. Look, I'm a superstitious guy, Cam. I can't. So just if you could.
Sure, I'll give you one. I'm not superstitious because I don't think it works, and I've tried things and they don't work. So
you're not superstitious at all.
No.
Yeah.
The only thing I do is put my left shoe on before my right shoe. And that's
is that superstition or habit?
Just a habit.
Maybe habit is superstition.
I'd feel weird if I didn't do it, though.
Maybe that's superstition.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
I don't think it is.
You mentioned that it's a really stressful job.
Without a doubt.
So young Camden.
Yeah.
Who told you that it was a stressful job, and then why the heck did you decide to become a kicker anyway?
No one told me it was a stressful job. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. That answers it.
I would have been playing soccer somewhere. It would have been a lot less cool, though. But yeah, it's hard. Kicking's hard at times because it's one of those things where it's an imperfect skill. You're going to go out there, you're going to miss kicks, and you got to be able to accept that. You got to be able to put yourself in a position to do your best every time you run on the field. But there aren't a lot of things where it's go out there and one and done. It's a very unique position. It can't really be directly compared to anything. and it's impossible to teach. Sometimes your brain tells you don't know how to kick a football, and I think Pat McAfee actually said that in an interview once, and there's nothing you can do about it but figure it out yourself, which is the most frustrating thing in the world. But you go through it, you figure it out, you get it done, you get back on a hot streak, and then you get going.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, like, you talk about the stress of it, the mental bounce back of it, you know, like, all that being equal. I feel like the expectation is such that in your position there's also no comparison. Like, it's just an expectation that you hit every field goal ever, even if it's 70 yards away. Yeah. That's got to be stressful part of it too. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Like the expectation, I feel like it's tough.
It is, and that's, like I say, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
You know, no one expects Tiger Woods to go get a birdie in every single hole. Like, he's gonna miss, he's gonna get bogeys. You know, he's gonna get doubles. Like, it's gonna happen. You know, that's just part of sports, part of life. Is you're gonna make mistakes, and you know, when you're out there in the game, the uprights look a lot more narrow than they do when you're out there by yourself. You know, it gets much harder in that position, and you can't understand that until you've experienced it.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get a timeout. Camden Lewis is here. We still got to ask some of the big, hard-hitting questions, and I saw a couple people asking if we would take questions. Cam will take questions.
I'll take questions.
Yeah, let's do it. One person wanted to know how tall you are. What do you stand at in cleats?
In cleats, 6'4".
Yeah, that's right. Good.
Yeah.
Yep, 6'4". That's it. See? We'll take your questions. Cam will be here for another segment in the Country Financial Studio. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FuboTV.com.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Go Ducks!
It's made, turn, don't deny me the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Oregon football from Learfield.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back with Camden Lewis on the Toyota Coaches Show. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. All right, so a couple people have asked questions. I guess I need to start saying, like, yeah, I am doing my best to keep track of some questions in the comment section if you're live with us here in the evening on Wednesday. So I'll go a little rapid fire because I got a couple big hard-hitting ones for you still, okay? One person was asking your max field goal range. So I'm going to say with wind at your back, you're going to hit a 100-yarder, right?
At least.
Yeah.
So – no, seriously though, in Autzen Stadium, the furthest field goal I've ever made is 70 yards. I've probably made it I've probably made it 4 or 5 times. But we're talking like no pads, no helmet, on the field, kicking off the sticks with the most broken in football I could find. Yeah. On game day and warm-ups, I usually go back to 55, 53, depending on conditions.
Sure.
Once you start to get further back, the uprights, get narrower and narrower, so you don't want to take too many risks. But, yeah, it's so condition-based.
Yeah.
In practice, we usually hit a long field goal every day, and it's usually 54 yards is our long field goal. And I've made that like 5 out of 9 times.
One person was also asking, like, a day in practice. How many field goals are you kicking in practice?
Yeah, it depends on the day. Today I hit 7 field goals. It was 7 for 7 with 2 46-yarders, one of them being like a last-second run on the field, Toro. But Tuesdays we usually hit like 2 or 3 kicks, and then Thursday maybe 2 kicks, and that's pretty much it for the. It's about 10 to 15 field goals a week in practice.
Now Albert wants to know, real hard-hitting question, if you've ever had an arm wrestle with another player and beat him.
Well, no, but I'm pretty confident I could beat a good number of guys.
Hey, see, that's what I like.
Not the linemen, but like.
Yeah, you're not.
I could take some skill players on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now I'm with you. One person also was asking favorite game this year. We actually talked about that during a little bit during the break. That's a tough question.
Favorite game this year?
Favorite game this year, and then I'm gonna go even further than that. Like, do you have a favorite game in your career so far?
Favorite game this year would be Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere was super fun.
Yeah.
Walking out on the field, it was 100 degrees. Regardless of how I performed that game, it was just a really cool environment. So unique, non-Pac-12 team, Big 12 was pretty cool to go down there.
That's a cool thing.
Getting off the plane, feeling that wave of 102-degree heat was crazy. And then over my career, there's been a couple. I think a lot of them, like the Ohio State game, was unreal. Just going to the shoe and winning that game. I didn't kick any field goals that game, and just being a part of that was so cool. Like,
That's cool.
So cool to go there and get that win.
Yeah.
I think that is probably my favorite game.
One other fan was
Or the Rose
asking
Bowl.
a little
Rose
bit
Bowl,
about the recruiting process. I mean,
as a kicker?
Yeah. So I imagine
Yeah.
it's similar, but also maybe, I don't know,
Right.
it is a little different.
It's absolutely different, and it's changing because of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You could say that the same with any position, but high school kickers aren't really getting scholarships anymore because coaches feel like, oh, I can just go take another guy from another school, like a guy who's experienced, who's played in games. It's hard to look at an 18-year-old kid and be like, hey, that's the guy who's going to make field goals for me when 100,000 people are yelling at him. It's hard for a coach to make that decision.
Yeah.
I know a lot about kicking, and it's a tough decision to make. But I had a couple offers, like Minnesota here, but you're not going to have a lot of options because in reality, you're only going to take a kicker every 3 or 4 years. So when I was in high school, I was like, all right, who's got a senior kicker that's going to leave, and they're going to look for another guy.
Interesting.
And that's kind of what you got to do.
I feel like specialists in general, like there's a lot of camps, and you have to kind of go through that circuit. Did you have to go through that a lot?
I went to a couple like the regional kicking camps, but a big thing you want to do is actually go to the school and kick at their
facility,
recruiting camps, their facility, in front of their coaches in person. Because once they see you, unless everyone can post their 75, 60-yard field goals on Instagram, but it's who knows what it was like with it's. You got to see him in person.
Camden Lewis with us. So I'm kind of curious, too. Like, we talk a lot in sports about chemistry with your teammates. And for you, I imagine the relationship with your holder is a special one. How do you develop that chemistry? How big of a deal is that?
It starts as a scramble team on the golf course.
That's so true.
That's where we've gotten and he can hit the ball a long ways. He was a baseball player, so he's a great scramble partner, seriously. But, Ross, he lives with me, one of my best friends, just a good dude to be around, and we've become really close friends. And it's super important. You got to trust that person. Same with Same goes with the snapper and even the whole line.
And they got to trust you. If you miss, you're kicking them right in the teeth.
Exactly. I don't know if you watched the Washington game last week.
Right.
Kicker hit his lineman right in the butt.
Yeah.
That's you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
No.
So the best golfer on the team is
Bailey Jarmil.
And then you're in the conversation, right?
Okay, I'm going to say Andrew Boyle. He's really good.
He's a good one.
He's really good. He spends all his time on the golf course.
All right.
He's a good golfer.
Yeah. All right.
I beat him, though, so I've never beat Bailey.
Yeah. I feel like no one has.
No one will beat Bailey.
He comes up every time we talk about this.
You talk about Bailey more than me when I'm here. I see where your priorities are.
Wow. I was going to ask you now for, the real hard-hitting stuff. Now that this might be the last time that we have you in the studio.
That's hard to hear, but
it is.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you could do it. So first of all, thanks for being a Duck.
Yep.
Second of all, I like to ask this especially to the veterans, and you've probably heard me do this before. You and I have had an extension of this conversation before. What advice would you give to 17-year-old you now that you've gone through an entire career?
First of all, just don't be so hard on yourself. Delete social media. The only opinion that matters is the opinion of the person staring back at you in the mirror, and your parents, the people who you love. If I had known that and truly believed it at 18 years old, I would have been a much happier person.
Sure.
This year's been tough, but going through those experiences, I'm able to handle it much better and feel like I can bounce back much better than I would have been able to back then if I had known those things. So I wish I could go back and tell myself that. Just, how you feel about yourself and what you believe and know to be true about yourself is more important than anyone's opinion.
Yeah. You learned a lot of resiliency
Absolutely.
in your career.
Yeah.
For sure. I also wanted to ask you about kicking it out the back of the end zone, too.
Yep.
That's an important thing. I mean, we talk so much with kickers about field goal kicking, but then kicking it out the back of the end zone's that's a big deal.
Well, I get a lot of chances to hit kickoffs with this team.
Yeah, that's true. You do.
A couple of them are bound to go out the back, but it's been a good year. But I definitely worked on kickoffs this offseason. I had a feeling I might be the guy doing that this year, and I really didn't do it for a whole year. So getting back into that's important. It's you got to have it because people don't realize, when you kick a touchback, what could have happened on that play.
Right.
And I think we're up to 52 touchbacks this year. I think the record for a single season is 62, so I'm trying to beat that.
Hey!
And it's my old coach, Matt Wilgan, who has the record, so I cannot wait to text him after that one. So I would love to get that record. But, it's you never know what could happen. That was the deal last week with the returner at USC. The guy's unbelievable. He's returned a couple of kicks for touchdowns this year. And he had two returns. One he returned 4 yards and one returned to the 15. So it's huge.
Yeah. Cam, thanks for being a Duck. Here's to 6 points on six touchdowns.
6. Or a couple field goals.
This weekend.
We might not kick any field goals, but you never know.
Yeah, good offense, You get a lot of
touchdowns.
those on PATs, like you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I actually have the Pac-12 record for most ever PATs.
That makes sense. That tracks.
Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, Anthony Brown, these guys score touchdowns, man.
Good job, quarterbacks.
Thank you, guys.
Cam, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Camden Lewis, 5 points away from tying the program scoring record here with a few weeks left in the regular season. When we come back, wrapping it up, getting ready for a trip to the desert on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you is.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk.
Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm in Jogie's chair now. You can bring everybody back. Oh, no. Now we got to go.
Oh, man.
I hope Jorgie's watching.
I hope so, too. Yeah, it's never going to end.
Oh.
Arizona State coming up.
What a fun season of coaches shows.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, short week next week. And so we can't fit it in with the holiday and the game on Friday. So
you'll be doing a turkey about this time next week, right?
Almost.
Almost?
Yeah.
Do you put it in the smoker, or are you doing that?
The smoker, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's actually it.
I thought it was maybe I gave away a secret I wasn't supposed to give away.
It will go on the smoker with the mac and cheese and some other things.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, 1 o'clock kickoff. Some people say, well, I thought it was 2. It's 2 o'clock Arizona time.
That's right.
All right.
Bye.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight's show has also been brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by